This is Carissa Miller with Lula Pottery for your ears. Today I'll begin with an inviolable imperative for living as an artist. There's no such thing as separating yourself from your work. Your work is you, and every presentation of your work is a presentation of yourself. There is no hiding. And as far as I know, it never gets more comfortable being so exposed and vulnerable. You might never get over it. I'll let you know if I do. But you will do it because you have no choice. No one can tell me that pottery isn't political. I started making pottery in 2017 as a response to our first round of Trump. Music, literature, poetry, photography, you can easily conjure examples of political statements made in these mediums. Short of me throwing mugs with little upside-down American flags all over them, you're not going to necessarily tie the kind of pottery I make to politics. But if you look just beyond the obvious, the mere making of any kind of art is part of a fight against conformity, against a prescribed social structure, and a way to process the state of the world around us. Let me suggest also that whether the art produced is specifically politically intended, the artist always is. We are vehicles for the messages we mean to convey, whether the message be free yourself, free my people, live life with intention, take your time, notice things around you, hate has no place here, be one with nature, don't take life so seriously, or mushrooms are cool. Politics is how we get along as a people. I've always had a good laugh at the idea that politics can or should be left out of anything. And I suspect that those who suggested we should fall into either the category of those who seek to dominate or those who fear those who seek to dominate, respectively. Let's crank this up to fascism. Here's a weird thing I have expert level experience with. Authoritative rule at the hands of a fear-mongering narcissist bigot whose discomfort in life is so great they would burn the world around them to the ground rather than evolve. It's not something I'd put on my resume, but it has come in handy, especially these last 10 years. We are, so many of us, grieving loved ones we have lost to this cult of Trump. It never ceases to confound how people we love, some of them people we consider intelligent, could have gone down this path. And the religious ones, good Christ indeed. The best I can offer after 10 years of grieving living people with whom I have gone no contact, and others who are in states of various assorted types of estrangement, is that for people who tend to seek comfort in having the answers given to them, in homogeneity, in black and white thinking, something like fascism holds appeal. Or, if not consciously, fascism has an opportunity to take hold. when one is given the answers, they are alleviated of the need to consider, to question, to go beyond what they are told is right and good and wrong and bad. As someone who freezes up trying to pick out clothes from a closet containing only half a dozen options, I can understand the comfort in being told what to do, who to love, and what to hate. An open mind is a scary and uncertain place, and it is somewhere within that thinking that I find a slight bit of understanding. For those assholes who are hell-bent on not letting anyone take a machine gun they don't need away from them, and keeping anyone from doing anything they don't understand, which will never have any effect on them, so that they feel the need to prevent and restrict strangers from being who they are or loving who they love, making choices about their own bodies, accessing healthcare or a path to citizenship, and instead put unquestioning faith in the most blatantly obvious grifter idiot who has zero fucking ideals and nothing close to their interest in mind. Pardon me. That's lived out. This recovering people pleaser, raised at the hands of this particular mindset, ultimately suggests you never stop telling these people to fuck off. I mean, once trying to talk to them has stopped working, if it ever worked. There is no preserving the peace anymore. And I will die on the hill arguing that it was never a good idea to keep silent in order to try to keep peace in the first place. It really has only led to and greatly contributed to the audacity that we see right now. Might and anger and regurgitating talking points without the ability to cite evidence or the willingness to research credible sources, with a disdain for such things as education and history and an intolerance, nay, fear of that which is different from what they know, with no inclination to learn or understand or empathize, does not make right. Make your family members uncomfortable and or ditch them, however you see fit. I personally sealed the deal in 2015 when I saw Hitler written all over that orange motherfucker. Ask a German. I'll wait. We are well beyond the point that our individual courages could make all the difference in this country ever getting to have another presidential election again. I say this with the utmost conviction as a mere autistic Potter who has deep dived with all the scholars and pundits and historians these last many years. You are not overreacting. You are likely underreacting because your body does not know how to process this. When you see oppressed people in other countries under oppressive regimes take drastic measures in protest and refusal to comply, it is because they have been driven to. All of their choices have been taken away. And if you think it's bad here right now because you're scared of being on a list or pissing off your dad or brother, I hope we never wish we had said something when we had the chance to do it without being jailed or killed. Please keep in mind that the United States as a dystopian hellscape is only a new concept to the most privileged people of this country. And while historically marginalized people do not owe you an education, you should be taking it upon yourself to listen to and learn from them. If you did not do your homework in 2016, or you have lapsed, or have forgotten, racism is the very core of all of this. Xenophobia, misogyny, the different, the others, Despite my yapping, I don't want you to learn from me. I just want you to listen when I tell you to learn. I feel obligated to raise my voice to share my experience because I can speak of what I know. But ultimately, I want to point towards further education and advise, as always, that all the cis, straight, white people stand in the back of the room with their mouths closed, ready to put their bodies in front of the vulnerable. I will read a few books here now, the titles, and I will also, of course, link them. Bell Hooks, Ain't I a Woman? Dr. Robin DiAngelo-White, Fragility. Ijeoma Oluo-Mediocre. Layla F. Saad-Me and White Supremacy. Ibram X. Kendi, How to be Anti-Racist. And most unfortunately, especially if you saw Ivanka's inauguration outfit, Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale. And for Snoopy's sake, read up on actual factual fascism. Pretty please. Be alert. Your country needs alerts. That's one of my very favorite quotes of all time. It's from Horace and the Book of Satires. The New Yorker really nailed it today. I am so excited to have this article that just barely exists to share with you, entitled, What Does It Mean That Donald Trump is a Fascist? I will link it. You will read it. Also, I'm sorry if I'm lecturing you and that you are already well read and doing all your parts and all of that. Why am I apologizing? Why am I yelling? Does it sound like I'm yelling? I'm not yelling at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm just angry. And sweary. I'm usually more careful about how many swears I allow myself in my social media content, but this actually is pared down from the way I normally speak, if you want to know. And I'm a little sick, so my voice is kind of gravelly, but in sum, art has always been resistance. Art gets us through hard times. Artists are sentient beings working at being their whole selves. Through their art, through their lives, through their existence, it's the entire point. Autistic artists saw this shit coming a decade ago. I meant to answer this question here today, and the best I can do is make it part of my closing paragraph. Do popular artists have a responsibility to boost the signal for social justice causes? Help someone find their lost dog by the power of the internet? Raise funds for populations experiencing hardships from natural disaster, displacement, restriction on abortion, family separation from mass deportation, genocide? I may insult you further by asking, should artists keep their opinions to themselves so as not to potentially alienate their would-be customers, patrons, followers? Have you been listening to me? There are no guaranteed human rights. Exercise what you can get. And then hope that fascist sympathizer billionaire tech overlords don't censor you on Instagram. It was a Nazi salute. Thank you for being here. Let's do this again.